And so it comes down to Justin Fields or Trey Lance. So those are going to be pro days to keep an eye on. They have to do their due diligence. If they fall in love with them, they have to take them. They just have to.
All over the country, yeah, all over Canada.
Look who it is, John McMullen, our NFL insider.
What's up, guys?
Got the Bruce Arians glasses on today. What's up, buddy?
Yeah, but no Kangol hat.
We still haven't gotten the Kangol hat. Is that a blazer you're wearing too?
I got to get on. Yeah, I had some stuff to do today.
That's the reporter wardrobe: jeans, t-shirt, and a blazer. Wow.
Yeah, you got it.
This is something I don't know. I'm sensing a theme here. Jake Asman had his Jets shirt on before he came on here. Kevin Kincaid had his West Virginia gear on before he came on here. And now John McMullen has a blazer on. I'm thinking that there is something in their brains, guys, that's just pushing them to be well prepared, look good when they come on the middle.
I wouldn't go that far, but it was between this and doing it from bed. So I decided to be more professional today.
That would be great.
Look, somebody on this show's got to be, right?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do you have anything on? We were just talking before we brought you on about a trending topic in the NFL is apparently some smoke with Russell Wilson and the New York Jets. Do you have anything on that?
Yeah, I mean, there was a big story in The Athletic that came out today that kind of explained the disconnect between Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. And then Deshaun Watson just came out with a tweet recently talking about loyalty. It is the year of the disgruntled quarterback. Wrote about that on Philly Voice. The only difference between Carson Wentz and the Russell Wilsons and the Deshaun Watsons, Aaron Rodgers, you could throw him into that mix as well. Even Tom Brady going back to last year. But those guys perform. And that was the difference between Carson Wentz and the superstars at this position. But clearly, we're entering a different era, more of an NBA-like era, where guys are trying to get, whether it's personnel power, whether it's getting involved with naming a head coach like Deshaun Watson wanted or a GM. It's a new era in the NFL, and I don't think teams are happy about it, to say the least.
Not when you give up that much to get a guy and you put a lot into it, and then all of a sudden he's going to demand to be moved. I was looking at some odds yesterday, John, about some of the starting quarterbacks next season in the NFL and who's going to be where. And the odds are that some of these guys aren't moving at all, like that they're going to end up in the like Deshaun Watson getting traded. No is the -1 to 3 favorite that he's not going to get traded.
Well, I mean, it's going to be difficult to move anybody with that kind of salary and that kind of, you think about it, Jason, they want, cap issues, plus they want 3 first-round picks on top of it.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. It all starts with Joe Douglas and the Jets because they're going to have an opportunity to either sit there and get a Zach Wilson or trade for a Russell Wilson or trade for a Deshaun Watson. I mean, they have that kind of impact because they have the draft capital, they have the money, everything they would need to acquire a player like that. And hey, Deshaun especially, he wants out. I mean, there's no question. Russell Wilson, it's a little bit more of a give and take, but clearly he's unhappy with the organization. So, Joe Douglas is the one guy who's got everything to acquire that type of player. We'll see if he can pull it off. We'll see if he even wants to pull it off. I mean, you might want the young quarterback on the cost-effective deal for 4 years and say, I can build my roster better that way.
It's better job security too, by the way.
Well, that's the thing. and I saw you and Mike Sealski on Twitter talking about this, where it seems like we've gone past the era, and maybe it's just on the other side, narrowly on the other side of that line. But it seems, John, we're chatting with John McMullen at JF McMullen, our NFL insider here in the middle, that we've moved past that era of you got a guy, you're not really sure about him, you still have to lock him up. You have to sign Tony Romo to this deal because you don't want to lose him, to now, even if it's just on the other side of that line, being like, You got a guy, you're not sure of him. Don't pay him the money. Just start over.
That's, I call it the Kirk Cousins line because Kirk's a really good quarterback, but you're probably not going to win anything with him. But he's going to throw for 35 touchdowns. He's going to have a passer rating of 100 plus. He's going to put up great numbers. He's been doing it since Washington. But are you going to win with him? I think teams are getting smarter and saying we might as well turn this thing over until we find a Patrick Mahomes, until we find a superstar type quarterback, which obviously makes everything easier. Now, the curveball to that is Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson are supposed to be those guys, but even they're forcing their way out. And if you want to look at the Houston Texans, as good as Deshaun is, they won 4 games. So you need more than a quarterback, even if the quarterback is great. And it seems like NFL teams are getting to that point and saying, do we want to pay somebody $35 million? The best example, $30 million, is Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. I mean, you're up in that range, and it didn't work out for either of those teams, obviously.
It's a little early, perhaps, but are there any links to with Howie Roseman and a certain kid in the draft that he's hot on or wants to can't wait to work out as far as a quarterback here in these next couple of weeks?
Well, the pro days just came out, and Justin Fields is, I think, the 30th. I think Alabama's the 23rd. So if you talk about
March,
Mac Jones,
30. Okay,
but all those players. So, they're going to go through this process. They're going to look heavily at a quarterback. They have to. I mean, they just have to. They're up in that area. They might not. Obviously, they can't get Lawrence. They can't get Zach Wilson. So it comes down to Justin Fields or Trey Lance. So those are going to be pro days to keep an eye on. They have to do their due diligence. If they fall in love with them, they have to take him. They just have to. And I look at Fields at 6 because he seems to be taking a few hits. And if he falls to 6, I don't know how they can turn that down.
Yeah, I totally agree. When you look at it, John, when it comes to the Eagles as well, you look at what the attrition that they've had in their roster: Deshaun, Alshon, Zach Ertz, obviously Carson's gone. Guys like Jason Kelce, what's the future there? Does it make sense is he going to look to go elsewhere to wrap up his career, or does he call it?
Boy, if I'm Jason and I want to play, and he's been very honest, it's year to year at this point for him. I don't know why he'd want to play here, other than loyalty, other than the organization. It has meant a lot to him. His wife, obviously, is from the area, all that kind of stuff. But as far as at his age, going through a rebuilding process, transition, whatever you want to call it, I would want to look elsewhere. I would want to push and say, hey, why not play with his brother in Kansas City? They need a center. Why not try to get another one? I think you're going to see a lot of that with the Eagles' veteran players. If they want to stay here, it's going to be out of loyalty because this team's not ready to win.
Yeah. No, they're not. They're not a destination in any regard. So not from the Eagles standpoint, but just in general, who is or one of the biggest names that is going to be the latest cap casualty or guy? I know JJ Watt is out and we're still waiting for him. I don't know as far as, you mentioned where a team could be a destination, but is there somebody that if they're out and it's just inevitable because of what they make, let's say, everybody's going to be on them?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, there's going to be more guys. Jarrell Casey just got cut today, and that is a player that obviously was injured, high price, but really effective when he could play. I think there's going to be a lot of those types because everybody is, remember, everybody budgeted pre-pandemic. Everybody budgeted that the NFL salary cap would go up 10%. It's going to go down 10% or more for the first time ever. So everybody is up against it from that standpoint. They weren't prepared for it. They're all working on the fly. Some have, better situations. Obviously, Indianapolis is one of them. We talked about the Jets, the Eagles, terrible situation. The Saints, terrible situation. So we've already talked about the Alshon Jeffries and the Malik Jacksons of the world. The Eagles have already set up their releases. Deshaun Jackson, Zach Ertz is going to go. This is happening all over. Jarrell Casey, the latest example of that. And you're going to see it all across the league. There's one or two more players that typically teams are going to have to say goodbye to, unless they're one of those rare teams with a ton of money.
Got it. Okay. Hang for a sec if you can, John. We're going to take a quick one here on the network. We'll wrap the hour coming up. Remember, Overtime brought to you by Book It Sports at the top of this hour each and every day, 1 o'clock Eastern. It's The Middle, phillyvoice.com/The Middle. All right, Overtime each and every day, 1 o'clock, phillyvoice.com/The Middle, where we bring you what you need to know, what we couldn't get to, or what needs to be talked about even further. And with John here in the house, Jason as well. We had the Flyers last night. We had the continued discussion about we talked with John about Jason Kelce and elsewhere. I don't know really right now what's the next move for the Philadelphia Eagles. Like, what are we waiting on? Are we waiting on more smoke about what they're, because I don't even believe what they're going to do at 6 until I know what the Jets are going to do at 2. And I feel like for me to buy into this smoke that might come out, well, we're definitely going to take this. That guy might not be there, or a team might leapfrog you, or they may trade back. So I feel like there are still a couple of things we need to happen before I start reacting to what the Eagles could do at 6. I don't know if there's another, like Jason Kelce, for example. I don't know if there's another name that we're waiting on, but what is the next big thing for the Eagles?
Zach Ertz is the next one.
Yeah.
So they're trying to trade Zach right now. The Chargers have had some interest. The Seahawks, they're not going to get a lot, but if they can get a late round pick, otherwise they're probably going to have to release him. So in everything, the second day of the league year for Alshon and Malik, they're going to be gone. So that kind of stuff, but it slowed down a bit this year because you don't have the combine. So you don't have the combine, meaning the draft stuff, you have to wait for those pro days, basically. Right. And a lot of them are at the end of the month in March. So it's going to be even slower than normal to figure out, well, the Eagles aren't going to decide on Justin Fields, for instance, till I think it's the 30th when Ohio State has their pro day. So yeah, you're going to hear a lot of bull, you know what, and it's even going to be less meaningful this year than typical years because you got to wait to do your due diligence, all of it, basically.
Mel Kiper released his latest mock today, and he has the Eagles at 6 taking Jamar Chase, but Justin Fields going 7 in a trade for San Francisco to move up.
Wow.
Yeah, I had mine. Justin's fallen a bit. I had him going to the Eagles at 6. Jamar Chase, I don't know. Again, he's got to run. If he runs a 4.45 and everybody expects him to, I think he's going really high. I think he might go number 3 to Miami. So,
wow. Yeah, he has Devontae Smith going there.
I don't think he's going to be in the equation for the Eagles, but we'll see. Great player. I just don't think they value that position. And by the way, I agree with them. Look at Calvin Johnson. Perfect example to me.
Yeah, that's a good one.
There's never been a more physically gifted receiver. He's going in the Hall of Fame now. I think he was the second pick. Lions weren't very good. He was good. Lions weren't very good.
Is it
by
the
nature,
most overrated position in sport?
Needs a vehicle to get the football. So there's only so much impact they can have on the game.
Well, not only that, John, but you have to first protect the quarterback to then get him the ball. There's like a bunch of boxes you have to check just for that guy to be effective. And still, if you have 8 catches and you run 60 plays, it's not that much.
Yeah. And not, as I was saying, he was a great player, but there's only so much impact he can have on the game. One of the things I give the Eagles credit for, they're right. You build, obviously, quarterback number 1, then offensive line, defensive line, both sides of the football.
So what you're basically saying to us, John, is there's not going to be a whole lot of NFL stuff materializing until the end of March.
Right.
Really.
Well, there's going to be tons of it, but it's all going to be,
like releasing guys. It's not really going to be real activity. So we are going to have to get into these conference tournaments, Eitan, and the NCAA tournament.
Telling you.
Big time.
You guys want to ban this stuff, abolish the Southland Conference Championship, but we need it.
No, I just didn't want anybody to get infected with the virus at their conference tournament that might have, like a Gonzaga.
Shut it down.
You know what I mean? Like, you think about that. Or a Baylor, or any of these big teams.
We haven't had that, knock on wood.
Yeah.
But even in the World Series, where that one guy had to come out and then come back, we haven't had so far the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Final, and the World Series, if you will. We just had a Super Bowl where COVID did not impact somebody, at least impact player, right?
Yeah.
There wasn't a Patrick Mahomes, or there wasn't fill in the like LeBron. It wasn't like that. But you're right. College, both basketball and football, have been hit way harder than their pro counterparts. It would not be crazy at all to think, like, let's say Gonzaga gets hit with a wave of it and 6 of their 7 kids are out. They're done. They're gone.
Yeah.
Yep. That would be
We got lucky. We really got lucky over this last calendar year from a sport, only from a sport standpoint, in the sense of all the finals. Look, I mean, even in majors, golf majors.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, golf's done an amazing job with it. They really have.
Yeah.
But I'd love to know what Peter King has to say about all this sports that has transpired since he and a couple others said we should never do it and just shut everything down until 2022.
I don't know why people make those grandiose sort of proclamations when none of us know. I mean, just be honest. You have no idea.
Yeah, he was saying that March 13th.
Experts.
Yeah.
Last year.
Well, because then you get retweets, you get clout. Yeah. You get to say that you were right when everything shuts down.
He's financially in Twitter. And he's financially in a position to sit on his ass and do nothing for 2 years.
Right.
And what these people say, just shut it down. These are millionaire athletes being greedy. For the athletes that play, the 23 guys in hockey, the 12 guys on the roster in basketball, there's 250 people behind the scenes that need a job. And if they don't play, guess what they don't get? They don't get a job. They lose their health benefits.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, how many part-time employees do you have at Sixers, Flyers, Phillies
arenas,
games? I mean, just all those people so greatly affected. Yeah, I mean,
it's $1 billion industry because it involves more than just the guys you watch on the floor.
Yep. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else we need to get out before we get out of here? We're back Friday. Now, are you going to be with us too? I'm putting you on the spot, of course, Jason. Feel free to say no. You don't have to be.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, I should be fine tomorrow.
All right. Now, let me know if you get anything back from Jim Florentine.
Yeah, I got 19 Flyers games in 33 days coming up.
Oh, boy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a grind.
Wow.
That's a lot of hockey.
Back in, right?
Apparently, I guess, Sam Carchese is reporting on the 7th when the Flyers return to the Wells Fargo Center that there'll be some fans there. So, I don't know. I don't have any breaking news on that.
No.
That'll help the atmosphere at least a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, it'll be weird because you'll have some people there, and you wonder how vocal they can be because they're probably going to have to wear a mask, right?
You would think.
Fans yelling
I'll
through
tell you,
a mask.
those NFL games that they opened up and they had 10, 15,000 people, it made a big difference. Even though you think 10,000 and a 70,000 seat stadium, it made a big difference. It really did.
Yeah, Lombardo was outraged at those cardboard cutouts at the Super Bowl.
It's another one. just
how is this safe?
Zoom in. My goodness, that's it. Just zoom in. Right?
Safe. Well, Matt's a good guy, but
we love Lombo. We love him.
I don't know if he's got the expertise on that, but who knows?
All right.
I'll let you know on Florentine.
Yeah, let us know
All
about
right.
Florentine. John, you have a great weekend. We appreciate you hanging with us. We appreciate all you out there as well. Remember, we're back tomorrow at 11 a.m. Eastern right here.
The middle.
It's called the Gonza Fort Peninsula Park.
Looks nice.
It's a nice green space.
Right. Just looks like, what's the park in the middle of New York?
Central Park?
Central Park, yeah. Central Park, yeah.
Most famous park in the world.
Right. It's probably the most famous green space on the planet.
The Middle with Eitan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays. Weekdays from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.